Let's get into the racing though, and the first is the Christchurch Casino Premier over the rating 82. 480 Irish Call in Galway Gary. Stephen Hunt, where's the money first off?
A decent move in the first here, Aidan, on number 7 Galway Gary. That's the best lead and on a confidence level for punters in the first, number 7 Galway Gary. Opened at $7 when betting commenced on Thursday. It's now at that top line equal of Irish Call, 480 each of 2. Sanasar is as cold as an iceberg. Can't write a ticket on Sanasar. No wet track form round number 1. $5 on trading now from as short a price as $4.20 this morning. So Galway Gary, best lead here, and I wouldn't be surprised if it closed favourite in the rating 82 mile. At the moment, a $4 equal favourite. A little bit of specking around residential during the week. That money's dried up just on the back of track conditions. $5 off a peak of 6. And a little bit of specking for Forged, trading at 10 off a peak of 14. But best lead, like I mentioned, is number 7, Galway Gary, 7 into 480.
Yeah, you'd expect Residential and Forge to be the two key pace runners in the race as well. Let's find out from our speed map. And yep, Forge goes forward. And Forge, Matt, comes in 7.5 kilograms better than Residential from last time.
I think that the lightweight's going to be a big factor around Forge. He's carried 58 to 58.5 in all 3 of his wins. A go-forward type, a bit of speed to the inside of it. Bevan, what do you make of the 2 Myers runners who are drawn deep?
Well, I think that map indicates to us that there's going to be reasonable sort of speed in this particular race. So Shadow King has the tongue tie on, he's second up, he holds the good wet track record. Rosie Myers for Dad in the saddle. So I think there's a lot of positive factors around that particular runner. And yeah, Galway Gary, I mean, that's a sort of horse against Sanazar who looked a good thing, or a good chance in the race on better track conditions with the rain that has come. Galway Gary certainly comes into the mix.
We're going to take you back to Ashburton, and it was 1,600 metres the trip of this race. Residential finishes into a placing, into 3rd place behind LB Darcy. Now, Bevan, here they only went 137. They walked around and they sprinted home. LB Darcy is not a true miler. He's more of a 1,200 to 1,400 metre horse. Residential was pretty brave in behind. Did you feel as though Residential, with its winning strike rate, should be as short as what it is?
No, to be honest with you. I think that Aidan made a relevant point with the weight swing towards Forged out of this particular race. They had reasonably similar sort of runs in the race, and there wasn't much between them at the line. You've got a big weight swing back to the other horse. So Residential clearly early on through its career, when it put those really strong wins together, looked as though it was going to go strongly through the grades. I'm not sure it's going as well as we've seen in the past.
Okay, it's only won 1 from 16 out of its last 16 starts, has Residential Aidan, so I suppose that's where our concern is coming from. But yeah, the wee spec around Forged and the fact that it's going to get forward and with a little bit of weight relief might be the way to go in the first.
Yeah, $10 with bookmakers too. It's attractive. Let's move you on to the second of the card, and this one is the Garrard's Horse and Hound Premier, rating 82, 2,000 metres, wide awake at 230, dominant favourite ahead of Blue Lagoon. Stephen, where's the money?
It's betting in the first 3 or 4 days, Aidan. Firstly, during the week, Wide Awake was very well supported on Thursday and Friday. $2.30 on trading currently off a peak of $3.20 as soon as betting commenced. We had a $3,000 bet on Wide Awake. One of Opie's 5 rides today at Riccarton, and looks to be one of his best chances now, Wide Awake in the second. The couple they have spec during this morning on the back of the heavy track conditions, Smiling Assassin, $7.50 into $4.80, so a decent shuffle there on number 10. And also number 9, She's a Toucher, opened at $13, now trading $8.50, so it's had a couple of steps up in the ladder in terms of favouritism order. She's a Toucher, now sitting in that 4th line of betting. So Wide Awake, even though it's been the best back runner during the week, I think it's found its mark at $2.30. They're willing to spec a couple against it today on track conditions.
Okay, I'd sort of expect locally sourced to be the pacemaker in this race. Let's see what our speed maps got it as here. Locally sourced from out wide, Duffers Creek, who is a toff on heavy ground, also pressing forward. Matt, what's the word from the boys?
Well, Duffers Creek has the blinkers on. I know that Jason was pretty keen on this horse as a bit of an over in the market yesterday, and I suppose that's reflected by the track conditions which have come now. Tricky sort of race this, Bevan. There's a couple of horses who are out of form. Blue Lagoon's been disappointing, Lochinora, Southern Sav, Duffers Creek. Is Wide Awake a standout? Is it that easy?
I'm risking Wide Awake today, just with these track conditions. The horse has clearly got a fair bit of quality, but I don't think it's come to Riccarton today to be striking these track conditions. So against it, I thought that Lisa Allpress, Danielle Johnson both had great opportunities to push forward and dominate this race and find forward positions. I didn't see a lot of early speed and really dominant speed in the early run, so I thought they may be able to find a position. Therefore, I did favour the 10 in the book as my top selection. I think locally sourced Duffers Creek really come into this race with the wet track conditions. I know Duffers carrying a lot of weight, but it is a quality horse at best. And yeah, I've got Wide Awake in for fourth, but I'm not so keen at that price.
Well, you go back to the Grand National Carnival. I think it was the first day of the Grand National Carnival, and Smiling Assassin on similar track conditions just smashed them, and he took a stack of money. Lisa Allpress with a couple of decent lightweight chances on the card today. Aidan Rodley, Richard of York being one of those later on, and Smiling Assassin isn't without a chance of winning race number 2.
Yeah, that wet track's certainly going to play its fair influence in today's proceedings, isn't it? Let's move you on to the third. This one is the Fast Track Insurance Added Stakes Maiden Premier over the 1400 for a $35,000 stake for maidens. It is attractive, isn't it, Stephen? And we're getting one from the Bull Stable. They astutely pick out these type of races. $3 and $1.20 is their support to indicate confidence.
There was yesterday afternoon, Aidan, and it looked to start a pronounced favourite under $3, $2.80. When we opened the book this morning, we just eased that price back out to $3. We're starting to see a couple horses that are spec'd against Hunter Villain at $3. It will start favourite, there's no questions about that. It's just a matter of where its price lies, and if we're talking about a dead track, I would have believed it would have started clearly under $3s, but just holding its price currently at $3. Taimanu in that second line of betting, well supported, $8.50 and a $6.50, so a decent move on Taimanu. Redford looks to peak third up here according to Punters, well supported, 8 off a peak of $12. And a little bit of specking around Brother Will, who resumes here for the Hughes stable. Danielle Johnson does the riding, and that's a key lead for punters wanting to include Brother Will. The fact that it is first up, there's money on, currently trading at 13 off a peak of 18.
Okay, yeah, this race, the first of the bigger fields, so you expect there to be more pressure. I just wondered whether Space Cadet from a little bit wider out might be pressing forward. We've got it going back in our map to midfield with the Blues, highly unlikely, and by Magic, the main speed in the race. A rich maiden here, Matt, and there'll be plenty looking to take care of this before they get through the grades.
Yeah, Brother Will draws wide, the full brother to son of Zach. He never won till he got to 1,600 metres, and he thrived on these sort of track conditions. But Bevan, Hunter Villain, we're going to take you back and get you to talk to us about this second placing at Woodville. Jumped from barrier number 12, only just got beaten in the latter stages of the run. But what is this form like? Should we take a good lead out of this race?
Yeah, well, Delamosa is a pretty strong sort of horse. Wicklow's also in here, and is a nice enough horse coming out of the barn of Johnny Wheeler. So I think this is a race where we've got 2 or 3 winners coming out of it. And look, it gets to the right part of the track. Didn't quite quicken, but make no mistake, this horse is trained for here. It's had 2 lead-in runs to come down here, as Adrian Bull does do. Look, I thought it was more unlikely this horse would win on a better track than it is on a heavy track, because it was drawn the car park. It was going to have to go back and circle the field and win. So I think on these wet track conditions, it'll slow a few up. There's good speed in this race, Matt, off the map that I put up, and I agree with that, and I think Space Cadet will push forward. So I think it's got the big chance of looping them on these off-track conditions. It'll be a fit horse. So I've got it on top, Matt, clearly.
Okay, I'm going to go with Aristotle in the Go Racing colours. She drops out of the Zakinto over 1,600, back to 1,400. Another one with Lisa Allpress on here, Aidan, with the side winkers going on a Daughter of Pins. There's always that query around the track conditions without them having raced on it, but I think Aristotle, that Zakinto form will stack up. We'll see that later on. Worth an each-way bet with the side winkers on in race number 3.
Yeah, it's a really competitive race, isn't it? Let's move on to the fourth. This one, the one good horse at Avonhead Tavern Premier. It's a rating 72, 1,100 metres, so a lot of speed here, including the likes of Otavio, who comes up a 3:21.15 favourite. It must have been a difficult book to price, though, Stephen, this.
Well, that's the excuse I'm going to make, Aidan, because they've found one here, Punters at value. Number 5, I Shinkle Tat'll Do. 340 you see there on option 604, 360 the tote, just a tick under 2.5k currently. Off a peak of $5, open second favourite when betting commenced on Thursday, and they have come out of trees on Thursday and Friday and early doors this morning on number 5, a Shinkle Tat'll Do. I wouldn't be surprised if it started favourite, Aidan, in front of Otavio, who brings solid northern form. Otavio, $3.20, plays $3.40 at the moment. But if multis are a decent lead, Shingle Do holds around about 200 compared to Otavio at 150. So look, there's probably not going to be too much between them, but if there was a slight lead, who's going to close favourite? It will be the 5 over the 3. Barbaros for the Pitman stable, that is very cold in betting. Opened equal second favourite with a Shingle Do. That has gone the other way. $5 currently. I wouldn't be surprised if it started around about $6, $7 on close. And a little bit of specking around what we do at 550 has wet track form. But it's all around the 5 here. Shingle Do. All 4 wins have been on tracks slow or worse.
Yeah, used to be with Alan Sharrock, and these days with the Diddums there at Riccarton as well. Speed here will be solid, you think, with the likes of Otavio, Atimo, also Dockett, who's led in the last 3, and What We Do as well. Good to you, Matt. I heard there was a bit of whisper around Shink Tattle Do last week, so has the word been strong in Canterbury?
Oh, absolutely, Aidan. And I tell you what, looking at that map, I just ooze confidence around this horse. Atimo, Otavio both pressing forward. I don't think they're anything ability-wise on Shink Tattle Do. Drawn out there in barrier 8, Corey Campbell's going to have options, Bevan Sweeney. Where he slots in, if the tempo's genuine enough for what we've got in terms of track conditions, could be a good bet, this horse.
Absolutely. I think Stephen gave you a bit of a chance at $5.20 when they posted this market first up. It will be my best on the day. It is the type of horse who will love these track conditions. When I saw it in the CD, it was winning on these sort of track conditions. And I think this race will play out very much like this particular race as well, with good speed in front of it. It'll come to the outside, and I really think it'll get across the top of them. It'll be my major bet on the program.
Okay, yeah, the horse has had a little bit of a freshen up. This was back at the Grand National Carnival. There it is, still about 3rd or 4th last in the Diddum colours. You watch it when it sees clear air, it goes bang. If it gets any sort of run like it has on this day, this form even has well and truly stacked up. The turn of foot that it showed the last 100 metres, oh, the speed map's given me confidence. Watching this has given me confidence. It'll near be favourite shortly, won't it?
It's pretty soft at that, soft in that particular run as well, watching it again, so it'll run favourite.
Okay, we're going on that theory, Aidan Rodley. Shink Tattle Do. Bevan Sweeney is pretty keen to make it his best bet of the day. I'm going to put it through a multi as a part of the strategy. We might have found one here. Race 4, number 5, Shink Tattle Do.
I've got a feed coming through from Stephen Hunt and Batoni. He's pushing buttons like mad after you boys were talking that horse up. Let's move you on to the first of our stakes races, and this one, the Jesberg Insurance Services Pegasus Stakes, 185 about Living on a Prayer, 107. This race down to 5 with the defections of the 2 Pitman runners, Mr. Typhon and Sensei, 360 Morse code and passing shot, 480, 130. Are they coming for this, Stephen, or is it just the scratchings that have forced Living on a Prayer so short?
A little bit of both, Aidan. Living on a Prayer opened at $3 equal favourite with Sensei during the week. Prior to Sensei coming out this morning, there was money on Living on a Prayer, and it looks set to start favourite at $2.70. On the back of those scratchings, 32% deduction on Mr. Typhoon and Sensei coming out this morning. So Living on a Prayer's come out $1.85. I think it will start in the red. I'm not 100% confident, but from what I'm seeing, they're just not punting too much to beat Living on a Prayer, believing its price will stay around about where it's currently trading, $1.85, $1.90. Morse code is the one that they're speccing to back against it. It's now in that second line of betting. It was third line when we opened this morning, but we've seen a lot of interest in Morse code at a $3.60 quote. Passing shot has been a notable drifter, $4 out to $4.80 this morning. Again, the question mark on track conditions. And Casa Quinman, well supported, tends to be a horse they like to punt, in particular at Riccarton. I think it won on this carnival last year, Casa Quinman in maiden class. And they have spec'd this horse at longer odds as soon as betting commenced during the week. It's now trading at $7.50 off a peak of $10.50. So best backed in the Pegasus, Living on a Prayer in front of Morse code and passing shot, interesting enough, fairly cold in trading.
Yeah, it looks to be the likely leader in a race that's going to be a tactical affair. Let's see the speed map for you. Passing shot out in front, but Matt, this will be very tactical.
Yeah, well, Morse Code, and take you back to April, was good enough to beat Don Carlo and Kinnigat here over 1,000 metres at Riccarton. It's got such tactical speed, Morse Code. And Bevan, I think if Passing Shot gets forward and they just try and get a bit of an easy time, Morse Code might just have too much of a turn of foot here. Well,
Passing Shot's been a quality horse over a long period of time, just getting a little bit long in the tooth, but the trial was good enough. There was a couple of smart horses behind it. I think it's a brave man that goes against Living on a Prayer at the present moment. The mare's just in wonderful form, been in against Nicoletta and a good group of mares in the Taranaki breeders. The run prior was exceptional, so I'm with that on top. Look, Passing Shot probably comes out of your selections with these heavy track conditions. The one I'm really interested in, and I'm going to follow it this campaign into the summer, is Keza Quinman. It put up some astounding sectionals when it picked up its win 2 starts ago at Wivell. I know it was at home, but then it had a run on a heavy track and it let down for a couple of bounds, but just found it a bit tough. Dylan's down to 53 kilos now. That'll be some effort for that young man. So there's a couple of concerns there for me, but if it gets close enough, it's got a decent turn of foot. Yeah, it's that sort of race tactically is going to be an advantage for a horse like Morse Code to be able to posse up, and if they do get an easy time in front, then it surely will be hitting the line. You can see where that money's coming from, Aidan, but all the same, it's a bit of a head scratcher, I think. Small fields over 1,000 metres. Look, any one of the 5 runners could probably win if they got their own way, to be fair. But Living on a Prayer, she's still the second favourite for the Copelands. Interesting pathway to take 1,000 metres on a Saturday through to 1,600 on Wednesday. All the same, should be an intriguing race, 25 after 5.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Bevan, though. She's the best horse in the race and still the one to beat, especially if it does become really tactical. Let's move you on. Race 6, the Millennium Hotels and Resorts Premier, rating 65, 1,200 metres, conclusion at 420. We got a good word from Jamie Richards earlier on about that, and Parvina at 420 and 165, who's been the modicum of good support in recent starts as well, Stephen.
Absolutely, both of them have number 2 Conclusion and number 14 Parvina. In particular, Parvina, 4 starts this time in. I think it started favourite on every occasion. That's including 3 starts down in Christchurch. Parvina, they're going again on the mare from the Pike stable, $4.20. It shares that quote with Conclusion. They match dollar for dollar without a clear lead of the best back run in this particular race, but a lot of confidence around the 2 and the 14 to take out this particular event. Number 1, Zakynthos, has been well supported. Third up this campaign, gets the vital 4 kg claim to get it down to 56 kilograms, where initially got allocated the 60 top weight Zakynthos. Trading at $9 off a peak, $11.50. So there's one that they've spec'd in the middle market, but outside those 3, it's been quite friendless, this particular market. So punters going with Conclusion, Parvina, and a bit of specking around the 1, Zakynthos.
Okay, let's get back to Matt and to Bevan. First of all, have a look at the speed map for this one, race 6. But enough pressure here, boys, to think that it'll be truly a run.
Well, Ace King Suited, our non-blonde, are both known go-forward types from down here. Our Foreman. Conclusion looks like it's going to map to get a pretty decent run there. But the horse I want to ask you about, Bevan, is Torre del Greco. The 4-year-old mare by Mitch Ronjeur has the blinkers on today for Kevin Myers. What did you make of its run at Rotorua?
Very good. Unlucky, clearly. It got in a difficult position at Rotorua. It does happen quite a bit here at Rotorua. They fan quickly, and therefore you have to find the right gap. Now, Rosie was a little bit unlucky in finding that gap. If the horse had got clear earlier, I'm pretty sure it would have won. So it's a pretty good form line. It's got the blinkers on here this afternoon, and it'll be interesting by this time of the day, Matt, whether that inside part of the track is really turned off and you're looking for those horses drawn out to wider. That said, I think I've missed a trick with Conclusion, not on my first 4, but I've spoken to the team around this part, and they assure me that this horse has got a good constitution and will kick very, very strongly. Look, I did go with the 14 on top, but gee, if it doesn't win today, the pockets have to be empty because they keep going and going and going, and the horse hasn't quite delivered. It was spruiked at Hastings, didn't really perform, so it's on top. I've got no real surety around this race, so I thought this was a very tough race to be selecting in.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's a race where I just threw 4 numbers together, Aidan, but I was keen to back non-blonde on the each way here. If you're willing to forgive her for her first up effort in a race that clearly did not suit her. She ran last, was no fault of anyone's, but look, I feel as though if non-blonde's able to get itself in the early rush here today, on the testing track conditions, I think she'll handle that quite well. She's a daughter of Bahare. She could represent you some value, but Conclusion might be the speed map special. Might be able to get a good run in behind a couple of quality horses in the early stages of the run, Aidan. So keep a watch on it, but non-blonde on the each way. I'll go with that in race number 6.
Yeah, I'm going to follow my money with Parvino, Matt. Let's move you on to the feature. It is the Group 1 Albasti Equal 2,000 guineas. Madison County comes up a $3.130 favourite, and that's just a slight drift, isn't it, Stephen, from your opening line?
Ever so slightly, Aidan, off a $2.80 opening line, now $3. Look, we've been boxed into a corner here with Madison County. He's the only one that's running for us currently in final field and in futures. There's some heavy tickets and bets landing on a few horses around Madison County and futures. So at the end of the day, we've just got to hold for this runner and just hope for the best around Madison County. And at a $3 price tag, I believe punters will come late for this individual, maybe an hour or so out from the race, Madison County. So we're just playing the patient game around that current price at $3. The action this morning has been about one runner, and that's number 3, Sir Nate. $8 off a peak at $11 this morning. During the week, it got as high as $13. We all know that it won on a heavy track last start at Trentham, beating older horses. So punters have lapped into that form line around Sir Nate for the ladder stable. $8 you see there on option 607, playing $6 on the tote. A tick under 8K currently in that totalizer pool. The chosen one at $6 off a peak of $5, so a little bit of a drift there on the stablemate of Madison County. Dawn Patrol, 2 starts, 2 wins on a slow track, has been very well supported right throughout the week, and this morning at a $6 price. Sword of Osman has gone the other way, $8. Got as short as $7 yesterday, but now trading at double figures at $10. And a little bit of specking for Inner Twinkling, the stablemate. 18 currently off a high of $33. I know Jason Tan spruiked this horse up on the first call yesterday, and there has been a few followers on the back of those comments. So Inner Twinkling well specced at longer odds. But best back runner, clearly the Lisa Ladder trained galloper, Sir Nate.
Okay, it'll just be interesting to see where Sir Nate lands and Madison County. They've drawn 1 and 2. Interesting to see what our speed map has them as well. So Sir Nate, midfield on the inside, and Madison County back on the inside. Sword of Osman, the chosen one, King Louis, Publicist, the likely go-forward horses according to our speed map here. I'll be really interested, Matt, to get Bevan's thoughts on Sir Nate. I know he's been a fan, and he seems to be an improving horse into this race.
Blinkers on, barrier 1, what are you thinking?
Well, I think he should be able to hold a position on what we saw at Trentham. Look, the fact that for him is that he's had a hard mile on a track that had a fair bit of rain on it through the day. So he's coming to the race a little bit more fitness, with more fitness on his side than a couple of others. Just remember he's a colt, so it just takes a couple of more runs to get him to the right spot. That said, I've always felt he's probably a length off a horse like Madison County. That length probably disappears with these track conditions. So I can understand why they're backing him, but as we'll have a look here in the Hawke's Bay Guineas, this is his second up run. You'll see King Louis, who was much improved. He's a much improved horse. Got big concerns about him, Matt, on these track conditions. Madison County and Melt are going to come to the outside. Now, Sir Nate did have their back, but he just got held up as they went on bite. Sectionally, he's okay late, but Madison County was the one you really wanted to be on off the back of this particular run.
What are your thoughts on Madison County at 1,600, based on where he could be in the map and on these track conditions?
Well, the map's a nightmare for me. I had him a long way back on the inside, so that could be a terrible position by this part of the day. 1,600 metres, absolutely no concern. I'm not sure the track's a big concern for him either. So it's hard to go against him. I think he'll be right in the mix of a lot of strongly spruiked horses early coming to today. He's the one that I'm going to stick with, and there's a couple that I'll be drifting quite strongly in my market.
The chosen one, your thoughts on him?
Well, I listened to Andrew Forsman this morning, and he indicated that he really does need a good track. So he's not going to get that this afternoon. Now, this race, well, I sort of threw it out the window, apart from the fact that I thought Madison County and Bitlippy were good because the other horses got all advantage. Sort of Osman, I'm not sure he's going to like a strong, big open track mile with the sting out of the track.
Okay, Chidgey Express finishes into second, and you see Madison County. The sectionals tell the story out of that, as we spoke about yesterday. And the last horse we're having a look at is the chosen one. Well, he actually wasn't that quick away, Bevan. He had to be hustled early, but the turn of foot that he showed late in the piece was that of a quality 3-year-old.
Yeah, he is quality. It's just I don't think he's getting the track conditions here this afternoon. Now, they do surprise, because he's never really been there prior, but he is a quality horse. We saw that, well, I saw that when he was in my part of the world at Waverley. That was just a fitness run to come down here, and he blew them off the racetrack, really. Look, I agree, in a twinkling, if you like the chosen one, you've got to be a little bit within a twinkling. The way it's hit the line strongly, But I'm really am worried. Andrew is a very good judge, and he just indicated that track conditions would play against. That said, I'm going with Dawn Patrol. I think this horse has done everything required of it. Yes, it's new, but I think from that draw, they don't have to be overly positive to get cover to the outside. It's worked on a wet track and worked up nicely. I just think that this horse may be a fraction better than anything we've seen to this point in our season. I'll certainly have Sunade in the mix as well, Madison Counties, and look, I'm not scared to have a little bit on Bit Lippy. That horse has done absolutely nothing wrong. It's run its her up. It was very, very good. The wind fresh up, strong. So it was a quality 2-year-old as well.
Okay, yeah, Dawn Patrol, from all reports, has galloped well on the wet track. So we're looking at that to go forward off the back of its trial and behind Passing Shot. In a Twinkling was the horse I wanted to back each way here, though, Aidan. Just going back and watching that Zakinto last night a couple of times. Probably lost a little bit of momentum at about the 150 and never really got its chance to hit top gear at that point. Chased home the chosen one well, $33. Your value's well and truly gone now, but I'm feeling that out of the 3 Tiakau runners, that if I had to back one, In a Twinkling would be it. But it's going to be a great race, the 46th running this year, sponsored by Albasti Equibuild. The 2,000 guineas, start time 20 minutes to 4.
Yeah, Madison County for me, lads. Let's move you on to the 8th, the Gold Club Premier, rating 65 over the 1600. Strad is a 460, 180 favourite, ahead of So Brazen at 550 and 210. Is there a money lead for this race, Stephen?
Even goes, there's about 3 or 4 that they've punted here in early doors. Aidan, Strad well supported yesterday afternoon, $4.60, current favourite, off a peak of $7. So Brazen, rock solid in that second line of betting at $5.50. Casual Winks, who comes out of the Zakinto, so you could argue that this is a drop back in grade around number 17, $6.50. It's come in 1 full point to 7.5. All But Me, $8.50 from an opening line of $10, a little bit of specking round there. And also Sava. No recent form to speak of, but it has won on heavy tracks. I think at least 3 or 4 occasions. Sava with the blinkers going on, 26. It's halved its quote from an opening line of 51. So Strad, Casual Winks, All But Me, best back, but a very even go.
Yeah, as we sort of said in the previous race, maybe wide draws are going to be more advantageous by this point in time. I just wondered whether Jinlu might be some sort of chance here from a wide gate, unbeaten on a soft track as well. Lord Snow, Splendior and Miss Diorella, the speed. How'd you see this one, Matt?
Look, I think, Aidan, to be brutally honest, don't bet into this race right now. It's an unbackable race. I'd be wanting to see what happens pattern-wise in the early stages of the day, especially for the rating 65 grade. If horses are getting to the outside, Bevan, then we're going to get an opportunity to maybe find something and get a market lead in this race. Yeah,
absolutely. Look, the format of Hawke's Bay has been very, very strong. So Brazen comes back from a couple of good performances there. Look,
does it know how to win, though?
Well, there's a few in the meeting today who are probably in the same sort of boat. I would agree, whether it gets across the line often as it should, but I just thought if I was going to find one in a race where I found it really difficult, that was the way I was going to head. I think Strad's a really nice horse.
Really good push for that horse last time.
Yeah, I think it's a nice horse, but I think I might wait till next Saturday. I think it'll back up and line up there, and I think it'll go very close today, and I think very close there. I wondered about the 8 for Mike McCann with the 4 kilos off down to the 53.5. It's got good form at the present moment, not really known on these wet track conditions, and yeah, Strad has to be in the mix as well for me.
All right, Casual Winks was so good at Ruakaka, showing that turn of foot on what was a better track. She draws out in barrier, I think it's about barrier number 14 or 15 she comes into. So Casual Winks, I think the daughter of Rip Van Winkle, based on what she's shown out of the back of her run last time out and behind the chosen one in the Zakinto, I think that form will stack up, Aidan. If I had to back something now, it would be Casual Winks, but I think it's one of those races where we'll watch the market evolve, watch the patterns of the day, and make our choice come closing time of 20 minutes after 4.
Not what we're paying for, boys. We want you getting off the fence and giving us selections. Let's see if you can do that in the Metropolitan Race 9. Let's have a look at the market for this one. Redwood Metropolitan Trophy, where 550 is about Zentessa and Mental Telepathy as well. A market lead for this one, Stephen?
There's 2 key points. The opening and original favourite in Falah has been a notable drifter. That's on the back of us reassessing where she is on a slow/heavy track. And Punters, yeah, look, they're not stupid. They know that he's very much vulnerable now on those track conditions. So a notable drift around number 12, 5 out to 7. The 2 that they've really targeted for is Delicious, opened at $9 this morning, now trading at $6, so it's gone up a couple of pegs, and favourite is Amorta Delicious, who has that wet track form and drawn barrier 11. Zentessa's solid at $5.50, so she is at current price tag Favourite price tag with Mental Telepathy, who hasn't been cold either, from the Baker Forsman stable. And if I had to give you a lead from the Te Akau barn, it's Richard of York. A few key gear changes here. 12 into 9 plays Swing Note 7. Now Swing Note, even though it's 2 points shorter, Richard of York holds 3 times more money than Swing Note, so there's a little bit of a lead there. But best back runner in this year's listed Metropolitan is Dualicious, 9 into 6.
Okay, interesting race really, isn't it, too? Zentessa, Shantav likely to be on speed. Let's have a look at our map and see. Shantav, Swing Note. Richard of York also to press forward. Okay, Matt, what are you liking in the Metropolitan?
Sorry, Aidan, I was just pulling the splinters out. Just while we talk about this race, you go and put 20 to 1 on Richard of York, will you? Thank me later. I think he'll win. Richard of York. You asked, you wanted some winners. There we go. Richard of York. Your thoughts, Bevan?
No, he'll split that 4 ways, go $5 to win on 4 runners in the race. Delicious on top for me. Look, I know she will handle a wet track condition. She's been up a long period of time, just probably showing a little bit of seedy bias from a horse who has been very good this preparation. Zentessa's going well. Swing Note, another in the mix. BT Junior. Look, he's another one of those horses that has had a lot of money on and he just hasn't quite got the job done. But I think he'll be a player if he goes nicely in the Cup next Saturday. But, geez, been expensive for many.
Well, Aidan, it's virtually a rating 85 this year's running of the Metropolitan, and I think Richard of York, with the noseband on, side winkers on, his run at Ashburton, you can completely forgive him for that. The run before here at Riccarton Park, he was just bumped all over the place when finishing into third and behind Bully Boy. He's just had absolutely no luck through his whole preparation. The $13 the bookmakers put up for Richard of York yesterday, that's now gone. We're now $9. 20 to win at $9. You work that out, then go and buy yourself a bit of dinner after the races tonight. Richard of York,
just like the fact that he'd been training behind harness horses. That's what I reckon, Matt. But no, you're very good with your tips. Pin-up Cope, unfortunately, has been scratched out of the last, but you're very good on giving us a nice each-way price there last time out. Let's move you on to that last race, the Blue Star Taxis Premier. Taxi for Matt Cross as well. End of the day, Irish Flame 330, 135, 550 Summer Monsoon. Stephen, what's the lead?
Best back runner, clearly number 1, Irish Flame, which I mentioned at the top of the show, Aidan. 330 off a peak of $4.50 during the week, Irish Flame. Now, that price could tumble in if we see a result around Sir Nate in the 2,000 guineas earlier in the program. We know Irish Flame running second to Sir Nate at Trentham a couple Saturdays back, so that will probably dictate its closing price at 330. Outside that, Summer Monsoon, solid at 550, come in 1 full point to 6.5. Word of mouth, rock solid at the $8 price, the last start winner since venturing down south. So Punters reinvesting there on number 9, and a little bit of specking around Sarista at $12. Could have got as high as 18 during the early doors this morning. So best lead and best go has been clearly number 1, Irish Flame.
Yeah, coming out of that Sir Nate race, and there was money for Sir Nate and also for Irish Flame, it seems now. Flash suggestions, Arista on speed. How'd you see the last map?
Well, Zarista, Aidan, as we know, and you and I have spoken about a couple of times, is a great horse to back when it maps to get forward. And look, I think on these track conditions, even Zarista should handle them. But the horse we are taking a look at is Irish Flame. Comes in here, I feel, Bevan, with some of the best. Well, it has the best form in the race. The poor horse hasn't been able to cop a draw on better tracks. He just looks like the best horse in this race. Yeah, well, he travelled better than Sir Nate, but it is a bit deceiving because he's just lazy and he has to be worked on. He gets past him, but he travelled nicely. This was the last race on the day, so the track was definitely rain affected by this point, and it took a pretty smart sort of 3-year-old to get across the top of him. John Wheeler's always spoken in great terms about this particular horse. First thing you look at it, you go gate 15, 60 kilos, good track conditions, you go probably not, but now you go absolutely. Look, if he touches $3 or under $3, then that's short enough. $4.40 was a nice price though. Yeah, well, we've taken a little bit of that around Irish Flame, and I think we're both in agreement, Aidan, in the last around Irish Flame. Did you have the horse on top?
In fact, I had him phased on top. I thought the run last time out was one of a next up winner. So, yeah, that barrier draw 2 now a little bit of a concern though, however. What about you boys? You put together a $100 betting strategy for us?
Yeah, do you want to go first, Bevan?
My $100 betting strategy will be 40 to 1, I think that'll do. I'm going to have 20 to 1 on Irish Flame and maybe non-winner So Brazen, but hopefully Pity doesn't hear that. And then I'm going to take a $5 poker bet, all 3 to 1. Now, I did speak to Michael through the week, and he has been in hospital, so I'm not sure if he's out now, out at this point, but if he isn't, get well soon, Pity.
Well, as punters, it's probably more frustrating being the trainer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, all the best to him. I hope it goes well today, So Brazen. This is how I'm going to attack the $100. So I'm going to make I think Tiddaloo the best bet. The value bet of the day is Richard of York. I'm going to take a $10 multi. I think that'll do to place Richard of York to place into Irish Flame to place. You could probably go all 3 of those to win, and you get a little bit more in your multi. I think that'll do 30 to win. 10 each way on non-blonde in race number 6. I think that horse is worth a spec. 10 to place on In a Twinkling in the 7th. Richard of York. And Irish Flame, 15 to win.
Have you been watching Aidan on the first call?
No, well, you only get $100. You only get $100. He's a 5 each way type of bloke. We're doing our best. We're doing our best. Greg O'Connor's got Morse Code as his best bet. Forged as the value in the first. Morse Code 25 each way. Race number 7 on the card. He's got a box Quinella there. 2, 3 and 9. So that's Madison County, Sir Nate, and of course the other one, Dawn Patrol. And then So Brazen, he's with $20 to win there, runner number 14, race 8. We better hand it back to you, Aidan. We'll go and try and find some information out here. From Sweens and I, we'll see you shortly.
Yeah, nice job. Really looking forward to the coverage today. We've kicked off on the right sort of note.